I was 17 when I saw her. I still remember her perfectly. I'd been living with my abusive mother for a slow, painful 17 years. It was midnight. My mother was asleep, so when she knocked at the door, it was me who answered. A small girl, hair clumped together, cheeks pale as the moon but blind of colour, black eyes, a pink dress torn at the hem, and bare feet that were turning blue because of the harsh cold. I let her in. The cruel winter must have been having an effect, even though she wasn't shaking or complaining. I took her into the living room and wrapped her in a blanket. I smiled at her. I asked her name, but a long silence stood before me. She stared, fathomless black eyes gazing. Lacey Morgan. I let her sleep on the couch. She curled into a ball, black eyes still gazing at me as I left the room. That night, I slept safely. I woke up the next morning and trudged myself into the kitchen. I was greeted with boiling hot coffee dripped down my shoulder and gave a feeble shout of pain, staring at my mother. Apparently, I had gotten dirt all over the couch. Lacey was gone. She hit me again and I left the house to go to school. And whilst at school, I heard something that sent chills down my spine. Lacey Morgan had been found dead last night. I waited all day for more news on Lacey, but none was given. I got home as soon as possible and turned on the news. Lacey Morgan was 6 years of age, reported dead at 7 last night. Her body was found in the garden, buried in a pink dress, and there was no sign of her mother, the murderer. Lacey had finally been killed after a life of brutal abuse and sadness. I saw a picture of her. Her face was filled with colour, and her eyes, they were crystal blue. I went to sleep straight away, wanting to avoid my mother. But around midnight, I was awoken by cold fingers stroking the bruise on my cheek. I leaned into the small hand for comfort and safety. Never again, a soft voice whispered. I then heard my mother shriek in horror. She was thrashing around on the bed wildly, a small creature eating into her chest, and as the blood pumped out, the screams got louder. Flesh was dangling off the bed, and the white mattress was soaking up all the blood. Lacey turned around and gave me a smile, blood dripping from her chin onto the sheets. She then clawed and bit at my mother's jugular and chewed it out of her neck. I fell unconscious for the rest of the night. However, when I woke up the next morning, I awoke in my bedroom. Walking to my mother's room, the only traces of existence was a child's dirty footprints and an open window. I never saw my mother again, and that was good. I eventually got married and had a child, a girl. She's called Lacey. Recently, I had noticed the neighbour's daughter beginning to collect bruises and burns from the bottom of her legs to the top of her arms. So I began to watch their home. Last night, I saw a little girl run into the house, barefooted. She met my eyes with her hellish black ones, and mouthed 2 words: never again.